Hey guys, it's Global 5 here today. We're doing a deck profile and tournament report for the New Jersey Bushiroad Autumn Fest Championship Series. As you can see, I got my first top 8 finally, playing Love Live Sunshine. It's a deck I've been playing since set 1, so it's been great to see how it's grown with the new cards that have come in. So I figured I'd just go through the deck real quick, explain some of the reasonings behind the card choices I have, and then talk about some of the matches at the regional. So without further ado, here we go. Some of these will be pretty fairly common set pieces, so bear with me, but I do have some interesting takes with it. So the first 4 cards are Aozora, Jumping Heart, Yoshiko Tsushima. It's a mill runner that on attack gives 500 power to a character, either herself or another. I'm really greedy with my build. I run 13 zeros, so I want to be able to try and plus my field as much as I can at 0. Obviously people play around that. Knowing Sunshine, they do know people try to be greedy, so anti-runners, bombs, and me just milling climaxes are great. So, you know, a little bit of antithesis to that, we have the anti-runner. I only play 2 copies, again, just because I'm being greedy and trying to limit the amount of zeros in the deck. So this is, again, just trying to plus the field. Beater that potentially denies my opponent's runner. I did use it in at least 2 matches to advantage, so it's definitely something you want to play. If you're trying not to be greedy, play 4 of it. Aozora, Jumping Heart, Daya Kurosawa. It's a hand filter, so on play, top check. If music, add to hand, then discard. So if I'm either just trying to sculpt my hand or get a card off the top that I don't want for my end game, this is the card I'm playing. Either digging down to get hopeful other zeros if I've only got 2 in my hand. This is that card. The second effect is when this goes from stage to waiting room, pay 1, clock yourself, and then draw. Just a quick, easy way to plus your hand. Again, being greedy, I want to have as many things in my hand as possible so I can just factor in new things to play with on that following turn. I use this all the time at 0. If I'm at 0.5, 0.3, 0.2, 0.6 sometimes, depending on what I have in hand, I'm plussing. 1, 2, 1, 3, I sometimes do it, but usually I'm not using the effect after that. I wish it was like a search, but I mean, you're limited with what you get. Volume 2 gives us some other interesting things that do make this card irrelevant, but for now, that is what we have. Then we have 4 Brainstormers, Aozora, Jumping Heart, Rigo Sakurauchi. It's a revenge card, so when another one of your characters is reversed, give 500 somewhere. And then it's pay 1, rest 2, salvage Brainstorm. The best Brainstorm you can have if you're running like a tricolor deck like I do. If you're trying to keep it 2-color with the yellow and the red, you can play the Hanamaru Brainstorm. That's especially good because it's rest self. But even then, you run into some issues. Whereas the Rico will allow you to salvage anything. So 4, 8, 11, 12, 13. That is all the zeros because I am greedy. Getting into the 1 game. I went through a couple iterations for the 1 game when I was attempting to build this deck. And this is one I've settled on. I may make a few changes to it. But the first thing I play is 3 Aozora, Jumping Heart, Mario Haras. This card is on the verge of being broken, in my opinion. It's on play, scry. So later in the game, it lets me know what I'm going to be triggering for the attack with Yo. If it lets me see if I'm going to hit a climax for brainstorming, and it just lets me see, if I want to do any other effects like my Azusa Ruby or anything. The other effect, when it attacks, it gains 1k for each of your other music characters. So with a full board, it's a 7k. So this is your kind of level 1 beater. You're just trying to get over your opponent with it because all your other ones are small. And then the other effect is when this card is reversed, you may reveal the top card of your deck. If it's level 2 or higher, bounce to hand. This effect is really good, again, at the end game. So the Mari level 1 definitely has utility throughout in different scenarios. So that's why she ended up making her way into this deck. I want to thank my friend Cam as being one that really pushed this on me. I watched him play with it in the build, and that's what really convinced me. The next 4 cards are Koinai Narite Aquarium Ruby Kurosawa. It's your Akatsuki or Azusa, whatever you want to call it. I play ditch a card, look it up to top 4, add music to hand. So if you're playing the Hanamaru Brainstorm, this card is what you're going to be using to grab your red cards. I use it for hand filter, grab my other level 1s, and just to mill. I have a habit of becoming extremely climax flooded, so most of my games you'll see me drop 3 of these and drop 3 climaxes in the waiting room, and then next thing you know I'm through my deck. Japanese, you don't get this card. It's really good, especially with the combo. So in English, obviously you play 4. It's just an instant 4 of in any deck because it just lets you get what you're looking for. Now for level 1, I may play what's called the unpopular level 1. I play Mijuku Dreamer Ruby Kurosawa. It's a climax combo with this 2-soul. On attack, if the 2-soul is in the climax zone, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's music, add the hand. So it's not a selective plus, and unfortunately sometimes you don't plus at all if you reveal the one event or climaxes. But with being a 2-soul, it's just super clutch. Like, if opponents are climax screwed early game, you grab the 2-soul, you slam it, and then they're pretty much just dead. Like, I did that to one player, except I couldn't get the 2-soul. I had to do it with regular 1k ones. But if I had the 2-soul, they would have been dead about 2 turns faster. So that is why we opted with that. Your other level 1 option is the Chica Bomb, which is pretty good. I just think that people should know how to play around reverses, and I just not a huge fan of bombs to begin with. So the 2-soul is where it's at. The other combo you could play is the Dia, the Mirai Ticket Dia, I think it is, where you can look it up to the top 2 cards and add level 1s or higher, which is still pretty good. I just found when I tested it that I whiffed and plussed either 0 or 1 out of the 2 cards 92% of the time. So the Ruby was what I went with because of damage push. Then I play 2 of these 2k counters. It's a glamorous swimsuit figure, Kanan Matsura. These are here more for blue fix than anything. I'm considering dropping one of these for another Mari because I don't tend to use the backup at level 1, so they're not as useful. However, at 3 or at 2, when you got your early plays out, that 2k sometimes is helpful. So I may drop one, throw another Mari in, but it's mostly there for the blue fixing than anything. So we got 4, 8, 10, 13 level 1s, and our first 4 climaxes. Then at level 2, this is where all your fun stuff happens. Just because we want to meme, we play this. It's also probably the best anti-change Sunshine has in English at this moment. It's Today's Ultimate Ragnarok, Yoshiko Tsushima. On play, you play rock, paper, scissors with your opponent. If you lose, all your characters gain 2k. So you want to make sure you play this last. Some people make the mistake and play it first, and then they've got a 7k if they want to die anyway. But yeah, definitely play it last, so that way if you do lose, which I'm adept at, you get that 2k power, and it does matter sometimes. The second effect is when this card becomes reversed, if the battle opponent of this is a level higher than your opponent's level, you stock bomb it. So it is good to remove those early plays of your opponent. And like I said, the only other anti-change that you have at this moment is Chika Takami from the first set, which is a game power and potentially a 2-0. So this is definitely much better. Then Aim for the Brilliance, or Aim to Shine as they translated it, Ruby Kurosawa. I've heard mixed opinions on this card. Some people play the vanilla 3k backup Mari from the first set. I've had a few situations where this card matters. What it does is when you use this card as a backup, your opponent mills the top of their deck equal to the number of characters you have in play. So if I've got 5 characters on field, my opponent's got 5 cards in deck, I make them mill the whole thing out and they take a refresh damage. It's been useful when my opponent's had like 15 cards in deck and 3 to 5 climaxes, and I use this and I mill out 2 of them. So now there's 1 in there out of 10 cards, and my opponent's in the attack phase and can't do anything about it, and then I stick a bunch of damage next turn. So that's why I use that counter over anything else. Then the main reason why you play this deck, the early play package, we're just going to throw all these down here in the 2 zone because these should be played at 2, even though I tend to play them more at 3 because I'm rushed from 2 to 3 all the time. But Mirai Ticket Riko Sakurachi, it's a 2-1 level assist, and what you want this to be is in your clock, because this card in your clock is the early play condition for this Chika. We're going to go back to the Riko in a moment for the second effect, but that Riko in clock brings out this Chika at 2. What this Chika does is, when it comes into play, you may pay an additional 1 stock to summon this level 3 Yo. And this is the money card. This is why people play Sunshine. Yo will burn on attack based on the music character revealed on the top of your deck. So going back to the Riko, if you've got a Riko in clock and a Riko on the field, you rest the Riko, discard a card from your hand, and reveal the top card of your library. Now you know what the card is. In addition to that, so let's say it's a 3, you're now able to salvage a level 3 or lower from your waiting room. So you can grab another Chika, so that way if your Yo gets removed to the waiting room the next turn, you'll have 3 stock, slam another Chika, and summon the Yo back from the waiting room. My distribution for this early play package is a lot different than most people. I play 4 of the Chika, 3 of the Riko, and 3 of the Yo. A lot of people will play like 3 Chika, 4 Riko, 4 Yo, or 1-4 of the Yo or 1-4 of the Riko, and then 3 and 3. I found this to be the most effective when I was playtesting. Being able to cycle the Yo was really important. So if I saw a Chika in stock, a Chika in my clock, had a Chika in hand and a Chika in the waiting room, then my Yo got removed, I was likely getting the other Chika from the waiting room back in my hand, either via the Riko effect, a brainstorm, or some other sort of salvage that I have, or through a Ruby Akatsuki. So this is why I went with this. A lot of people may not agree, but for me, being able to have the Chika in hand to always just play it down and then get a Yo out was just key, and it served me well. During the tournament, at least 2 to 3 times, there was a Chika in stock, a Chika in my clock, 2 Chikas in my clock, but I still had 2 of them. Whereas if you're playing 3 Chikas, now you only have access to 1. Opponents will always remove the Yo. If they're not removing the Yo, they're doing it wrong. So, sorry, excuse me. So that is Sunshine's dynamic package. So at level 2 we have 3, 4, 5 cards. Then the level 3s that should be coming out at 2. Then for your level 3 game, I'm playing 3 Yoshiko Musashis. This card has a climax combo, and there's a few different cards that have the same name that you can play. I play the blue gate, and this is why I'm splashing blue. For several reasons. A, I like to be able to have cards in hand so that way I can use them for discarding for the Ruby, discarding for the Rico, or early game I can get my 2 soul. And if I can cycle 2 souls with the Rubies on field, which I never talked about the Ruby's second effect, which allows you to cycle 2 souls. If I've got 2 in my hand, you reverse my Ruby, I can reveal the top card in my library. If it's a music character, I can pay 1 and bounce it to my hand. So if I have 2 souls, I'm definitely bouncing the Ruby to plus again next turn, and then just slam you for more damage. But back to the Yoshiko. Mirai Ticket is the climax it goes with. On climax play, it gains 2k power, and the ability, when the opponent of this is reversed, you may heal 1. The second effect is the Musashi effect. It's when damage is cancelled the turn that this comes into play, you may mill the top card of your library and deal damage +1 based on the level of that card. If I can go Yo-Yo Yoshiko, it's usually my finishing combination at 3. I actually did it in a match, and I didn't kill my opponent, which was very surprising. But he was very compressed, and we'll talk about that. But that is the level 3 lineup, except for this card. This has been in my deck since I built a Sunshine deck. I like spicy cards. And this is Ultimate Spice. Now, it's not bad spice either, in my opinion. I've won 21 or so games just because of this card. I actually won in part 2, not because of, but in part 2, this card in New York. What it is it's a counter. It gives 2/5, and what you do is you mill the top card of your deck. If that card is level 1 or higher, you burn your opponent for 5. So it is, in my opinion, really good. Obviously not fantastic. It's a 3/2, 2/5 event. But in certain situations, it does get you out of a jam. So I will definitely have to give it some credibility. And that's why it's still in the deck after, numerous years. Alright, so for a little bit of tournament talk, I try not to talk too long. I went into New York with a bye card. They announced it was going to be 8 rounds. So having a bye card for 7 or more rounds gives you a 2-round bye. So me and a couple other people I knew were sitting around for a little while waiting for 2 rounds. And it turned out that the bye actually helped us out a lot. Like, I ended up in top 8, but I ended up seeded really high, which I was surprised over, because I had actually lost a pair-up, pair-down match. So, I attribute that to the bye. Whether that was actually accurate or because of my opponents, I'm not sure. But there you go. My first round where I had an opponent, I played Bang Dream. It was a guy that some people in my shop actually know. I don't know him personally. But he had actually beaten my fiance the previous round. So I went in, looking for a little bit of blood. And he was playing Bang Dream. It was a standard build. He played Kasumi level 1 instead of the Yukina, so that was a little surprising to me, but I actually tested that deck, and it's pretty good, so I can't can't really dig him for that. But he didn't play any early play killers from what I saw. You know, I was afraid of the Kasumi backup. I didn't see it. I was expecting him to be grabbing 2-1 swimsuit Tays from the waiting room to bottom deck my early plays, but he never did. So that was very weird. The match itself was kind of odd too. I severely miscounted. I'm at 2-5 or 2-6, I can't remember which, and he's at 2-4, and I know he's got a Yukina and a Yukina climax in hand, and I definitely don't want to be seeing that at 2-5, 2-6, and I was pretty uncompressed if I remember correctly. So he's at 2-4, and I've got 3 cards in deck, of which I think 1 is a climax, because I have 6 in waiting room and I knew 1 was in my stock. So I attack with the first character, trigger. It's for 2 and he cancels. So I ask him, how many cards are in your hand? He tells me he has 3 cards in hand. So I pass turn, thinking I'm going to cancel next turn. Plus, now I had already cleared his board the previous turn, so he wouldn't need to clock himself to have any playable characters if he's got a Yukina and a Yukina climax in hand. So he does that. He brainstorms. He hits because he's a sack, and then he gets to play 3 characters. One of which is the Kokoro that gains a soul in the middle. So he's at 2-6 at the end of this turn, and he comes into me. And I'm expecting to cancel, and next thing I know I'm at 3-6. Luckily I get a cancel on the last attack, so I don't die, and then it's my turn. So I come in on my turn, and I've got a Yo and a Yoshiko on board, and he's at 2-6, so I need to deal a full round of damage. So I'm like, okay, I've got nice oodles in my hand. I do the Rico top check and it's a level 1. I'm out, I think, 10 of my 13 zeros, and I've got 4 stock. So I play nice oodles and I burn him for 5. He cancels on 3, but I think that playing this card is what saved my game, because I come in with the Yoshiko. No, I came in with a Chica. It was a Chica, a Yo, and a Yoshiko. So I come in with the Chica, and I trigger a 2-soul trigger, and I hit him for 5, and he eats it. So he's at 3-4 at this point, and now I need to deal 3 with either the Musashi, a Yo burn, or a Yo. So I'm feeling really good. So I swing in with the Musashi. He cancels on 3, and then I mill this to burn him for 3 for game. So that was just a wild game. So I'm feeling really good because Yukina was like the one thing I was worried about. I felt like I had played around it correctly for that game, as much as it potentially screwed me because I miscounted climaxes. It did turn out pretty good. The next game I played P5. It's actually another Boston local player who I had never met before. I guess she's pretty new to the area. And she was climax flooded, and I could see it from turn 1. She had ditched 1, she had clocked 1, she was playing them, and I could not get a 2-soul in my hand at all. I think I killed her from 2-1 though. Just every time I got a climax, I was slamming it, and she couldn't keep a board, except for the Haru walls. But once I got to 2, I think I killed her from 2-1. It went Chica and Yo, and it was just game. She never got to play at 3 either, so feels bad. Looking forward to actually playing her if she does come around locals though, so that'll be fun. The next round was an SAO build. It was last shot, Yuki last shot build. The guy must have just had a really off game. He got one Yuki combo off and he forgot to use the effect. So like he attacks and doesn't do the effect, and I'm like, what? And then like after the turn he goes, wait, I didn't do the effect. And it was just all downhill from him from there. I think he got me to like 3-2, but that was just because of one Xenon burn, and then that was just game. Round 6, I played Kit King, who was playing Bang Dream. This was the most stressful game of the day, just because I know Kit and how good of a player he is. So he himself said he misplayed during the game, and I was thinking it myself as he was playing. So I don't know how it would have gone without that. So yeah, it was just such a good game though. Like I actually really look forward to hopefully playing Kid at another point, either at another regional or for WGP or anything. So yeah, I can't really say too much more. It was just such a good game. Came down to the wire. He ended up Yukina burning me, but it wouldn't have been for lethal. So I felt pretty good from that turn, just knowing it wasn't going to be lethal. So yeah. Then after that, I played Gurren Lagann. I was a pair up, pair down. The two undefeateds next to us were like, "You gotta lose, so we don't gotta play the 8th round." And I kind of was in agreement, but at the same time, I wasn't gonna throw the game. My opponent did some very odd things during the game. Turn 2 or 3, he goes to brainstorm, takes the stock, and is like gonna put it in waiting room. Never like completely flips over the card. But he kind of looked down, and then he put the card back in his stock and said, wait, never mind. Played the Nia, put that card into clock to salvage level 1 or lower, and then brainstormed out of climax. So, because I wasn't too worried about it, because I was trying to just save a round, I didn't call a judge. Plus, I don't even know how you would be able to prove that one way or the other anyway. But then he tried to call me out for this backup, saying that it wasn't him that milled, it was me that milled. And I'm like, no, you mill. I guess one of his friends has been playing it wrong forever, but I mean, come on, it's in English. Then he killed me using the Gurren Lagann style of this card, and just tired or whatever, I didn't read the card. And my timing would have actually killed him before I needed to eat the 4 damage, because we had looked up the card afterwards. So I technically should have won that and been undefeated, and then there would have been another round, but then I would have gotten home at 3 a.m. instead of 1:30. So I guess small consolation prizes for not reading cards, but at the same time feels bad that players just don't know what their cards do, and then you kind of just, if you take them at their word, it kind of just screws you up. So then we go into top 8. I'm getting deck checked, which is like the most nerve-wracking thing, because I've never been deck checked or anything. And the judge can't find one of the Rico SPs. Like he's gone through the deck 3 times, and he's like, I don't see the Rico SP. So I'm like freaking out. A, it's an SP card, it's expensive. B, I'm about to be DQ'd because this card just randomly disappeared. So like I'm looking under the table, another judge is looking under the table, I'm looking in the box, I'm like looking under the play mat, I'm going crazy. He passes through the deck a 4th time and finds it. They go, oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm like, you're killing me. So yeah, he felt really bad because I guess I aged 20 years is what everyone was saying. But yeah, so I got in the top 8. I played a kid that was playing Pastel Palettes with Good Stuffs, and the kid was a great player. I'm not sure how much I put stock in the Pastel Palettes deck, but he played the deck really well. Like, he knew what he was doing, and he just piloted it to perfection. It was a really good game. The judges loved the game too that were watching. They were like, wow, it was really entertaining, really exciting, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I ended up losing to him first round of top 8. So whether that puts me in 8th or 5th, 6th, or 7th, whatever. We made it, top 8. Finally got that off the bucket list. And it was just an overall great time. The Bank Dream player actually ended up winning, so it feels good to lose to the guy that won more than anything else. But, yeah, no, just really good tournament experience overall. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you liked the deck tech. This is the first time I've done a video in this style. Please leave me comments, suggestions, likes if you liked it, subscriptions if you're looking for more stuff, because hopefully I'll be doing some more deck techs down the line. And other than that, thank you all for listening, and have a good rest of your day.